All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Let's talk about the welterweight division and the huge fight that is coming up this weekend and some information that was shared by Terence Crawford about Shawn Porter that may or may not be relevant, but we're going to cover it anyway in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and I am excited for this weekend. If you guys have not figured out how you're going to buy or watch the Terence Crawford versus Shawn Porter fight, please make sure that you do it. This is a fight that needs to be encouraged. It is definitely one of the two of the best fighters in the welterweight division, which is the most stacked division in boxing, fighting each other. I do believe it's on ESPN Plus. Haven't seen a ton of promotion for the fight. Haven't heard a lot of buzz for the fight. And that's just, to me, it's kind of disappointing because these guys, this is the type of fight we need to see. It's a fight that these guys, didn't have, well, I guess Terence Crawford had to take because it was a WBO mandatory. But this is a fight where I think you're going to see a very, very high skill level, and you know that you're getting very, very good fighters in the ring. And the winner of this fight, more than likely, at least the way that I see it, should be fighting Errol Spence Jr. for a 3-belt unification fight. I favor Terence Crawford to win the fight because, Terence Crawford, for me, is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. But Shawn Porter is a very, very live underdog, about as live an underdog as you can get for Terence Crawford right now. Because I think anybody else, any of the other guys, I would give Terence Crawford a even bigger chance of beating, with the exception of Errol Spence Jr. and maybe that young boy Jaron Ennis, who's a ways off from getting a title fight. But so in the lead up to the fight, Terence Crawford says something that I thought was like, man, I certainly hope you do not actually believe this. It sounded kind of canned, which was that he said, look, man, the best fight that I've ever had, and this is Terence Crawford talking, was a fight with Jose Benavidez. Now, if you don't recall, Jose Benavidez, I think it may have been his second or third fight in probably his second fight after Jeff Horn in the welterweight division. And it is the fight that Terence Crawford went the longest in, because I do believe he got a 11th or a 12th round knockout against Jose Benavidez. It was a pretty I wouldn't say it was an even match. I think Terence Crawford was winning the fight the entire time. But in the words of Shawn Porter, Jose Benavidez was pretty much right there in every round with Terence Crawford, pretty much just pulling the rounds out, with a few more clean, effective punches. It was a lot of chess. It was a big chess match, going on in that fight. So Shawn Porter said that he believed that was the toughest fight, or the best fight that Terence Crawford has had. And so Terence Crawford brings up Jose Benavidez and says, yeah, but I knocked him out. And then he points to a sparring match that took place between Shawn Porter and Jose Benavidez, and said, yeah, but you got beat up in sparring by the guy. Now, my understanding is that the tape is out there on YouTube. The reason I believe that it's out there on YouTube, and I have not looked at it yet, and the reason I didn't look at it is because I don't really want to make a lot on sparring. Jose Benavidez, my understanding is when this match came out with sparring, when they had the sparring match, Shawn Porter was an older fighter. Jose Benavidez was coming up. And, Shawn Porter may very well have been working on some things with Jose Benavidez and not really trying to go for the kill against Jose Benavidez. Personally, the idea that Jose Benavidez was going to beat Shawn Porter in a boxing match, to me, is a bit of a joke. And honestly, even if that is the case, when Jose Benavidez sparred Shawn Porter, he had two good legs. When Terence Crawford fought Shawn Porter, Jose Benavidez had already taken a gunshot. Well, I think it was a shotgun blast to the knee, right? So, at that time, I think Jose Benavidez was a little bit gone. He even had like a knee brace or knee wrap in the ring when he was in there fighting. Clearly was not moving very, very well. But anyway, Terence Crawford beat him, won by knockout. Shawn Porter sparred him. And Shawn Porter is using, they're both kind of relying on what happened with Jose Benavidez as a measuring stick for each other. I think that that's going to go out of the window, and I don't think that that's going to be very irrelevant. If, like I said, if Shawn Porter fights Jose Benavidez in a straight up boxing match, give me Shawn Porter, 30 times out of 30 matches, give me Shawn Porter in that. I think Shawn Porter is just a much more well-rounded fighter and finds a way to win. Jose Benavidez, for his part, though, mentioned the same episode and was asked his prediction for the Terence Crawford versus Shawn Porter fight, and pointed to the sparring match and said, yeah, that he didn't believe, man, he really did he was dogging Shawn Porter. He said Shawn Porter, from sparring Shawn, he said, look, Shawn doesn't have a jab. He doesn't punch that hard. He's a tough fighter, and he can stay in there and maul you and make it difficult, but that's about it. That's about it for him, right? Yeah, if that was about it for him, he would have never won a championship, let alone 2 championships. I don't think that's the case. And plus, there is things that Shawn Porter brings to the table as far as pressuring you and making it a very, very hard and difficult fight on you that come into play. Shawn Porter, also somebody, although he has been dropped by Adrian Bronner and Errol Smith Jr., is somebody that has a chin and has a very high work ethic, work rate, and does not get tired. He's not somebody that is going to gas out over 12 rounds, is going to start slipping. He's also somebody that has more championship experience than anybody Terence Crawford has fought. So he's not going to lose focus and get hit by I think what was a feigned left hook to an uppercut that got Jose Benavidez out of there with one shot. I don't see that happening, man. But I do see Terence Crawford winning the fight. I'm not sure how that's going to be, because I don't know how Shawn Porter is going to come in here fighting. Shawn Porter can fight both on the back foot, and he can fight coming forward. He can maul you, or he can box. I think that he's probably is very, very familiar with how Terence Crawford fights. And one of the things that he said that he's going to do in this fight that I think is probably a smart thing to do is and this is where I think where this thing is going to be made, is when Terence Crawford switches to a southpaw stance. If you're familiar with Terence Crawford and how he fights, he typically comes out in an orthodox stance, and he's aggressive in an orthodox stance. Generally speaking, he's more defensive in the southpaw stance, and when he's trying to figure out somebody, he will switch from orthodox to southpaw and give him the southpaw look while he's trying to figure the guy out. At least that's what it looks like to me from the outside looking in. Well, Shawn Porter's approach to it is that if you switch to southpaw on me, then I'm going to attack you in the southpaw position, because I believe you're less comfortable in the southpaw than you are in the orthodox. So he plans on getting very aggressive when he switches to that southpaw stance. And there's also another thing, man. In boxing, man, eventually people catch your patterns. And Shawn Porter probably knows Terence Crawford's patterns very, very well, because of the amount of time that he's been around Terence Crawford, from the amateurs to watching him in the professionals, and knowing that at a certain point in time he's going to have to fight him. He also has Barry Hunter, who's the head trainer for Headbangers Gym, that's in there working with him, that is one of the best trainers in boxing, and is going to prepare him the best for this fight. But anyway, I don't put a lot of credence in the idea that because Jose Benavidez beat him in a sparring match, or that means somehow Terence Crawford and Terence Crawford knocked out Jose Benavidez, that means Terence Crawford's going to do that to Shawn Porter. I just don't buy it. But anyway, what I do buy is this fight, and I invite you to pay for the fight, watch the fight, or however you watch the fight. I'm going to pay for the fight. I don't want to cast judgment on you, but support the fight. This is a fight that, if it does really good numbers, hopefully we'll be able to see Terence Crawford or Shawn Porter in other big matches, which is what boxing fans want to see. Also, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your comment in the comment section. It'd be greatly appreciated. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.